Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Rochelle Lamosal. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please be seated. I first want to acknowledge those who are wearing purple today for Alzheimer's Advocacy Day. I want to thank the representative from Nanakuli and the Hawaii Alzheimer's Association for their hard work in making today possible. Today, I want to share with you one of my favorite childhood storybooks that I continue to read to my son called The Giving Tree. The story starts, once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. As the story continues, the boy would visit the tree often. It gave him apples to eat, allowed him to swing on the branches, and slide down the trunk. The tree was delighted to see the boy happy. But as the boy grew older, he wanted more from the tree, and the tree gave and gave until it had nothing. Which character do you resonate with in that story? Are you the tree, the boy, or are you sometimes both? As a child, I saw myself through the boy. Not only was the boy dependent on the tree to provide for him, but he was also afraid of facing the inevitable obstacles and responsibilities of growing older. It is a reminder of the responsibilities we have as individuals to care about things beyond our own needs and self-interest. If we continue to remain weary of those responsibilities, our fears and our self-interest can get in the way of not only our relationships with others, but it can also result in severe consequences, like it did for the tree and for the boy. If we are not careful of how we speak and treat each other, we can wipe out the very things that provide friendship, love, and life. The tree and boy are a reminder that life requires us to give life, love, hope to each other. If we cannot do that for each other, we all lose. Managing the responsibilities of serving my community and raising my son can be challenging. It is always a work in progress to find balance between the two. However, the same joy my son gives me in seeing him grow up, the same love my community gives me is the same joy and love I hope to share and give with you all today. Let us give to each other a sense of obligation to give back to our communities that sent us here to do the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lamosal. Item 1, roll call. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Ayu, Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran, Mr. Evslin, Mr. Ganadin, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Gates, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Hashimoto, Mr. Holt, Ms. Hussey Burdick, Ms. Ichiyama, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Mr. Kila, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Kobayashi, Mr. Kong, Ms. Lachika, Ms. Lamosal, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Pirik, Ms. Poepoe, Mr. Quinlan, Mr. Saiki, Mr. Sayama, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takayama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd, Mr. Ward, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamashita, Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, all 51 members are present.
Thank you. Item 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal of the 14th through the 17th days and approve the same as though read throughout.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that journal days 14 through 17 be approved. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Item 3, messages from the governor. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of a communication transmitting the noted Senate bill having passed third reading in the Senate.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Senate bill laying on the clerk's desk pass first reading by title.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the Senate bill laying on the clerk's desk pass first reading by title. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members, are there any introductions? Representative Nishimoto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in the gallery is a good friend of mine and a good friend of the House of Representatives, Cheryl Derby. Cheryl can stand. Mr. Speaker, Cheryl has been a faithful employee and volunteer to the House of Representatives for over 2 decades. She started as a staff member in State Representative Mark Takai's office, and she now is a volunteer in our Sergeant-at-Arms office. So I hope members of the legislature will join me in thanking Cheryl for her many years of service to our body.
Representative Onishi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today is the 23rd annual Day at the Capitol event in celebration of the contributions people with developmental disabilities have made and continue to make to our communities. March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, a nationwide campaign to raise public awareness about the abilities and the strengths of individuals with developmental disabilities. Mr. Speaker, this year, the self-advocates from across the state created their own theme to commemorate Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Leadership and friendship are forever. Mr. Speaker, today, as part of their Day at the Capitol, I would like to have you and my fellow members of the House welcome back in person from the Big Island, Jesse Floyd. Jesse, if you could stand. And also, in the gallery are the rest of the self-advocates, the advocates, family members, and support staff from Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Maui, East, and West Hawaii. Can you all stand and be recognized? Mr. Speaker, today these attendees will have the opportunity to discuss developmental disabilities-related issues and concerns with state legislators from their home districts, attend public hearings, take a tour of the Capitol, give testimony in a mock hearing, learn the legislative process through the public access room, and network with fellow attendees. Mr. Speaker, I would like to request to have their names added into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Kilo.
Mahalo, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the colleagues who have participated in Alzheimer's Awareness Day today by wearing purple. I'm grateful for your folks' support, and at this time, I'd like to recognize the advocates who have made this day amazing. Please hold your applause until the last name is called, and please stand when your name is called. I have Advocate Calvin Hara, Elizabeth Dixon, Ivy Constelios, Jennifer Odence, Justin George, Kathy Wyatt, Christine Cadubal, LJ Duenes, Lori McCartney, Lucy Carter, Mike Meyer, Nick Los Baños, Rick Tabor, Ron Shimabuku, Tanya Tuelis, and last but not least, Gino Sequena. To the House of Representatives, we welcome you and thank you for the work that you do and advocating for Alzheimer's.
Representative Lowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Really briefly, I just wanted to recognize specifically the people over here from Arc of Kona on behalf of myself, the representative from Holualoa, and the representative from Ka'u. And we'll just read their names really quickly to recognize them. So over here, sorry, I need my glasses these days. Over here from the Arc of Kona, we have Julia Althoff, Roy Corpuz, Quentin Wong, Isaiah Wong, Lois Phillip, Joshua Pratt, Joshua Gates, Shannon Salas, Zachary Trim, Catlin Voff, Teresa Moore, Sierra Whiteside, Alyssa Gorton, and Richard Gordon. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Quinlan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been informed that in the gallery today I have not one, not two, but three of my constituents. Dr. Ye Nguyen, Dr. Mercy Ananda, and Catherine Picardo. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Evslin.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I'd like to welcome the developmental disabilities advocates from Kauai. In the gallery today we have Dylan Wasano, Ronaline Perono, Carlene Yamamoto, Joshua Ilareta, Robert Stewart, Alexandra McClurg, and Travis Planas.
Representative Perrick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the gallery, I'd like to advocate for James. On behalf of those with disabilities, please clap for James. Also, the Kukua Council, representing the District 39 Upper Beach and Waipahu, please rise. Also, Pastor Russell Stewart from the Ark, and also the Birth Believers, please rise. Pastor Russell. And Daniel Brown and his family. These are all advocates of home births.
Representative Capella.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery, there are a couple of folks all the way from the southern half of Hawaii Island. So please rise or wave when your name is called. Nikki Kiakona, Kahiao Kiakona, and Hi'ilani Kiakona. I also have Denise Lindsay, Jim Kilgore, and Danette Sonoda. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the House of Representatives.
Representative Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In addition, on the advocacy end of things, on behalf of the Puna delegation, we'd like to represent Mr. Jesse Floyd, who was recognized earlier, in addition with Melissa Evangelista, Cheryl Obrero, and Penny and Christian Kinskoll. Thank you.
All right, members, with no further introductions, we will take a recess. Will the House come to order? Item 5, unfinished business. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules of the House in order to consider certain House bills for third reading by consent calendar.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any questions? I'll be doing a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Report numbers 784 and 792 through 794 as listed on pages 1 and 2, and that the accompanying House bills as amended pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussions on Stancom Report 784, 792, 793, 794? Members, I'll be calling for a vote. Representative Morikawa for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all majority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On page 1, Stancom Report number 784, HB number 542, HD2, Representative Kong votes no.
Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all minority members vote aye.
Have all the votes been cast? Said House bills pass said House bills pass third reading. Item 6, reports of Standing Committee. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Reports numbers 795 through 840 as listed on pages 2 through 13, and that the accompanying House bills as may be amended pass second reading and be placed on the calendar for third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussions on Stancom Report 795? 796, 797, 798, 799, 800, 801. Representative Garrett.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request a ruling on a potential conflict. This is for Stancom 801.
State your conflict.
I serve as a sports official, specifically as a high school and college umpire, and I stand to benefit from the protections afforded in this bill.
No conflict. Ruling stands till sin die.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Capella.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No vote.
So ordered. Moving to Stancom Report 802, 803, 804. Next page, 805, 806, 807, 808. Representative Garcia.
In support.
So ordered. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. COVID has run our lives for the last 3 years. It's time to move on and not let this burden us down. So in strong support, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to the next page, Stancom Report 809, 810, 811, 812, 813, 814, 815, 816, next page, 817, 817, Representative Capella.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With reservations.
So ordered. Moving to 818, 819, Representative Capella.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Moving to Stancom Report 820. Next page, 821, 822, 823, 824. Next page, 825, 826, 827, 828. Next page, 829, 830, 831, 832. Next page, 833, 834. Representative Lowen.
With reservation.
So ordered. Moving to 835. Representative Lowen.
Reservation.
So ordered. Moving to 836. Representative Lowen.
No vote on this.
So ordered. Representative Capella.
Same request.
So ordered. Members, we're going to move on to the next page.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Peruso.
my apologies. Same request on the last measure.
Which is no vote on 836.
Correct.
So ordered. Moving to 837. Representative Lowen.
Reservation.
So ordered. Representative Capella.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving to 838, 839, and SANCOM report 840. All right, members, we'll be calling a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Reports number 841 through 885 as listed on pages 14 through 23, and that the accompanying House bills pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on SANCOM report 841? 842, 843, 844, 845. Next page. 846, 847, 848, 849, 850. Next page. 851, 852. Representative Perrick.
No, please.
So ordered.
While I like the
Proceed.
thank you. While I like the intent and the goal of this bill, I think our tax dollars would better served by going towards another issue and letting the private sector solve this.
All right, members, moving to 853, 854, 855. Next page. 856, 857.
Speaker.
Representative Ward.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise in strong support of this measure.
So ordered. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, generally speaking, success in life is making do and making the most of what you have. This bill allows us to donate wild access deer meat, wild boar meat to the underserved communities, which I think is excellent. I want to commend the authors of this bill. It's something that we should have had long ago. We've wasted things and we've used things that we didn't have because we didn't think we had the money. Well, this is using what we do have, and I think it'll be a very successful program. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to move on to 858, 859. Next page. 860, 861, 862. Representative Morikawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In strong support.
Proceed.
On August 27, 2020, Act 14 was signed into law legalizing the growth of hemp in Hawaii through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, Domestic Hemp Production Program. That meant that beginning on November 1st, 2020, individuals and entities who wish to grow hemp in Hawaii must acquire a hemp production license from the USDA and comply with state requirements. Well, Mr. Speaker, here we are today, again trying to allow hemp farmers to get their products out to market. Now, we have seen foreign hemp products come to Hawaii markets from outside of the state, but not locally produced. In an attempt to get a variety of local products sold here, legislation has been unsuccessful since 2020. We talk about sustainability, but with this crop, it is very difficult. Our former and now retired colleague from Kailua was a strong advocate and champion for hemp production. She would bring hemp products for us to taste. She encouraged the use of hemp clothing on one special Friday, and did all she could to get Act 14 to become a reality. Our challenge with this legislation is to finally allow our hemp farmers to get products out to market. Mr. Speaker, this bill, I hope, will finally help our hemp farmers who have invested so much into a farm product that may have many health and environmental benefits. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to move on to 863. Next page, 864. Representative Perrick.
Back on 863, I'll be voting no.
Okay, hold on. We'll finish 864. All right, members. Moving back to 863. Go ahead, Representative Pierre.
I believe culture is an important aspect of Hawaii. At the same time, I think the private sector can do a better job at preserving our culture, and we can save taxes.
Thank you. He's, Representative Pierre, your no vote, right? Thank you. All right, members, with no other discussion on 863, we're going to move to 865. Representative Pierre?
No, please.
So ordered. Moving to 866. Representative Pierre?
No, please.
So ordered. Moving to 867. Representative Pierre?
No, please.
So ordered. Next page, 868, 869, 870, 871. Next page, 872, 873. Representative Souza,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for ruling on a potential conflict.
state your conflict.
My cousin is Mark Patterson, chair of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission, and this bill may seem favorable to the Oversight Commission.
No conflict. Ruling stands till Sendai.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to move on to 874. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Pierre.
No, please.
So ordered. All right, members, we're going to move on to 875. Representative Pierre.
No, please.
So ordered. Next page, 876, 877, 878, 879, 880. Next page, 881, 882, 883, 884, 885. Calling a
885.
885, Representative Pierrick.
No.
So ordered. Proceed.
Well, I believe it's great to have transportation and to have benefits available. I think everybody should be paying the same when it comes to transportation.
Thank you. Representative Morikawa for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all majority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On page 14, STANCOM report number 842, HB number 217, HD1, Rep. Capella votes no. On page 15, STANCOM report number 849, HB number 307, HD1, the following vote no. Rep. Ganaden and Capella. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all minority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On SCR 852, House Bill 313, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. On page 18, SCR 863, House Bill 473, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. Page 19, SCR 865, House Bill 475, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. Page 19, SCR 866, HB 478, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. SCR 876, HB 968, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. Page 21, SCR 874, House Bill 54, House Draft 1, Rep. Garcia and Pierrick votes no. Page 21, SCR 875, House Bill 250, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. And lastly, page 23, SCR 885, House Bill 828, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no.
Have all votes been cast? Said House bills pass third reading. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee reports numbers 886 through 934 as listed on pages 24 through 33, and that the accompanying House bills pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on HB 843? HB 936, HB 960. Hold on, I'm gonna take a recess. Will the House come to order? Moving on to the top of the page on page 24, let's move to STANCOM Report 886. 887, 888, Representative Perrick?
No, please.
So ordered. 889, Representative Morikawa?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In strong support,
So ordered. Proceed.
although the committee report will show that there were many reservations on this version of the bill, including mine, this issue is very important. The reservations were because of the added language that this bill only applied to any island with a population of 500 or less, which would be the island of Niihau. The original intent of this bill was to bring awareness to the difference of Niihau speakers who have maintained the language of their ancestors and are now the only true community of Hawaiian language native speakers left in the world. And to clarify the type of support needed for native speakers of all islands who have never lost the Hawaiian language in their families, and to appropriate funds to support the perpetuation of that language with regard to the provision of public services and notices to native speakers in the language and orthography they understand best. The Department of Accounting and General Services, DAGS, submitted testimony in support of this bill because they believe that increased support and education of the Hawaiian language that includes the form of the language that was taught during the Hawaiian Kingdom should be acknowledged, and that the rich documentary heritage contained in the state archives is accessible to more than just the few native speakers and academics who understand it. Further, DAG suggests that efforts to more fully support increased fluency in the indigenous language that existed in the early Hawaiian Kingdom should be made throughout Hawaii and not restricted to just islands with populations of 500 or less, so that rich documentary heritage contained in the many memory institutions throughout Hawaii can be more widely understood and appreciated. Mr. Speaker, after much discussion and some misunderstanding, I believe we need to, at some point, return to the original language of the bill to support all of Hawaii. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Ward?
Speaker, strong support.
Proceed.
May I have the good remarks from the good representative from Kauai entered into the journal as my own?
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Kahaloa?
Mr. Speaker, same request from the representative from Waimea.
So ordered. Representative Garcia?
Mr. Speaker, same request.
So ordered. Representative Cochran?
Mr. Speaker, same.
So ordered. All right, members. We're going to move on to STANCOM Report 890. Next page, 891, 892. Representative Perrick?
No, please.
So ordered. Proceed.
There's a large group of people that don't need a college degree. That would include police, firefighters, bus drivers, janitors, barbers, hairdressers, construction workers, and more. The question should be asked, why should they be paying taxes for someone else's college degree? Thank you.
Representative Garcia?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Quinlan?
Strong support, Mr. Speaker.
So ordered. Proceed.
I would just say that my house was never caught on fire, but I'm still glad we have a fire department. Thank you.
All right, members. Moving on to 893. Representative Kila?
Mr. Speaker, no vote and a brief comment, please.
Proceed.
I support the intent of the measure and knowing that this is on the rise across colleges' campuses, but in respect to University of Hawaii system, I am requesting that they make the appropriation because this seeks only 1 year of funding And for the program to succeed, it needs more than 1 year. So requesting that University of Hawaii take this and run with it and put it in their own budget. So mahalo. No vote.
So ordered. Representative Garcia?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Pierrick?
No, please.
So ordered. All right, members, we're going to move on to 894. Next page. 895. 896. Representative Pierrick?
No.
So ordered. Proceed.
My understanding is that this bill would promote critical race theory, which is basically racism against white people.
Representative Garcia?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Peruso?
In strong support.
So ordered. Proceed.
And I just want to state for the public record that this program is not designed to promote racism against white people. And critical race theory is a body of knowledge that has been developed to help those going through and entering into the legal profession to better understand the history of race relations in this country and to be able to address them in their practice. And I think that it would be wise if we better understood the concepts that we're using on the floor before we use them to determine our analysis about bills. Mahalo.
Representative Garcia?
Second time in opposition still.
So ordered.
Just for the
Proceed.
record, yeah. Critical race theory is racism because it tells you to judge certain classes of people based upon their skin color. So, no vote.
So ordered. Representative Ganadin?
Mr. Speaker, in strong support.
Proceed.
In response to the representative from District 42 discussing races in the original draft of the Constitution when we discussed slavery. This bill is the result of 3 different deans, some of the most esteemed academics in our community, coming to us asking to collaborate to give us best practices for how the justice system works to basically make our jobs easier. I think it's troubling that there is an anti-academic bent and a movement against what is basically a technical legal analysis of constitutional law that is coming from, I don't know, radio punditry or something. Essentially, discussing race and the way that history plays into the law is embedded in the way we discuss everything here on the floor. It is a part of our legal practice. If we think about the cases that were developed off of the Richardson Supreme Court, in which they protected water rights, those water rights were then embedded in the 1978 Constitutional Convention. That was essentially critical race theory because they analyzed a discussion of the law going back to a time when it was essentially legal in the kingdom but illegal in American law. It was a discussion in the case. Much of the discussion about critical race theory is already in place at the law school. I'm a proud graduate of that law school. I didn't know about the thing until the 2nd and 3rd year of law school. And I'm really proud to have been educated by people like Mari Matsuda, who is the first ever Asian American law professor tenured in the United States. I'm a former student of Chris Ijima, who developed some of these theoretical frameworks and who passed away and who educated many of us in this community. So as a part of that pride, I am in strong support of this bill.
Thank you. Representative Souza?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand in strong support
So
of this
ordered.
bill.
Proceed.
This bill is generally to foster a collaboration between different aspects of academia at the University of Hawaii system, and it's not just with the law school. The law school will be housing this program, but it's to bring different facets of academia together. And also, the program is meant to, have an eye towards peace and justice, and I think that everybody should want world peace. And generally, I think that there definitely has been a sensationalizing the law on the floor and overgeneralization of the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Pierrick?
In opposition.
So ordered. Proceed.
In commenting on academics, I have a bachelor's and 2 masters with a 4.0 GPA. I have a doctorate degree, and I teach at 4 universities. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to move on to 897, 898,
898.
898.
Reservations.
Representative, go ahead. So ordered.
Reservation.
Moving to 899. Next page, 8900, 900, 901, 902, 903. Representative Chan.
In support, request written comments to be inserted into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Members, moving on to 904. Representative Pierick.
Support.
So ordered. Proceed.
I'm generally not in favor of taxes, but when it comes to taxing tobacco, I support this.
So ordered. All right, members, moving on to the next page, 905, 906. Oh,
Speaker, this
Representative Cochran.
WR on this. I always get leery when we're mandating or requiring counties to do certain things. And in this bill, I'm also a staunch supporter of affordable in perpetuity. This is only keeping the housing at 30 years. So I had discussion, I reached out to Maui County to see if they had a chance to chime in and look this over, and they, as I understand, had not. So thereby, I'm WR on this one.
So ordered. And 905, Representative La Chica.
Mr. Speaker, with reservations.
So ordered. Representative Peruso.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Kobayashi.
Mr. Speaker, with reservations, this bill says counties, this bill requires counties to do certain things. Long before I came here and during my first years here in the legislature, I worked on several county home rule issues or county autonomy issues, including working with the mayor of Big Island, whose son sits in this body, and also the mayor of Maui. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 905. All right, we're going to move on to 906, 907, 908. Representative Lowen.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Speaker. At the appropriate time, can we go back to StanCom Report 906?
Okay, hold on. 908. All right, let's move back to 906. Representative Lowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In opposition.
So ordered. Proceed.
Brief comment. Building codes exist for a reason, and we have to think not just about upfront costs, but the cost to taxpayers if things are not built, to appropriately deal with natural disasters. And we have to think about cost to the occupants of these units if they're not built with energy and water efficiency, for example. But all of that aside, there's already a process in place for the counties to amend building codes. And this is just basically, in my view, facilitating a certain county's incompetence, and I cannot vote for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Representative Bellotti.
Mr. Speaker, with reservations.
So ordered. All right, members, we're going to move on to 909. Next page. 910, 911, 912, 913, 914. Next page. 915, 916, 917, 918, 919. Next page. 920, 921, 922, 923. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving on to 924, Representative Pierrick.
In support.
So ordered. Proceed.
I'd like to thank the body for abolishing a part of the government.
Okay, next page. 925, 926, 927, 928, Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Pierrick.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Alcos.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Ganadin.
Back to 926 when we have time, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Moving on to 928 right now. Representative Mizuno.
Yes, on 928, in support.
So ordered. Proceed.
This is a major bill on early education. Currently, we provide subsidies for childcare 4 years. This would cover 3-year-olds. This is not only going to help our kids get great education before kindergarten, but it's going to help our low-income families work. Many two-parent households will have to sacrifice a parent not to work to watch the kids. In this case, when you have 3- and 4-year-olds in early education centers, this will allow both parents to work. And this is a good thing for our state, it's a good thing for the economy, it's a good thing for education. For those reasons, I support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to move back to 926. Representative Ganadin.
Mr. Speaker, in strong support.
So ordered. Proceed.
My community, like many of ours in this body, is concerned about students getting back and forth to school safely. This bill would allow us to direct federal funding to that end.
All right, members, we're going to move on to 929. Next page, 930, 931, 932, 933, and the last standing report, 934. Representative Matsumoto.
With reservations.
So ordered.
And permission to insert written comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Pierrick.
No, please.
So ordered. Representative Garcia.
With reservations.
So ordered. All right, Representative Hussey Burdick.
Reservations, please.
So ordered. All right. Representative Morikawa for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all majority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On page 28, STANCOM report number 905, HB number 814 HD1, the following vote no. Ganadin, Hussey Burdick, Capella, Lowen, Martin, Peruso, Tam. On STANCOM report number 906, HB number 920 HD1, Representative Lowen votes no. On page 32, STANCOM report number 925, HB number 24 HD1, the following vote no. Ganadin, Capella, Peruso, Poi Poi. On page 33, STANCOM report number 934, HB number 676 HD1, the following vote no. Ganadin, Capella, Peruso, Quinlan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Garcia.
Thank you. On the measures before us, all minority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On page 24, SCR 888, House Bill 960, House Draft 1, Rep. Pierrick votes no. On page 25, SCR 892, House Bill 390, House Draft 1, Reps. Garcia and Pierrick vote no. SCR 893, House Bill 554, House Draft 2, Reps. Garcia and Pierrick vote no. Page 26, SCR 896, House Bill 877, House Draft 1, Reps. Garcia and Pierrick vote no. Page 31, SCR 923, House Bill 964, House Draft 1, Rep. Garcia votes no. Page 32, SCR 928, House Bill 961, House Draft 1, Reps. Garcia and Perrick vote no.
Have all votes been cast? Representative Ayu?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to register a no vote for StanCom Report 893, HB 554, HD2.
So ordered.
Thank you.
All right. Said House bills passed third reading. Item 7, third reading. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House bills listed on pages 34 and 35 pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on HB 132? Representative Tarnas.
Thank you. In support.
So order, proceed.
Thank you. This bill clarifies the use of electronic voting systems for the purposes of marking and counting ballots and auditing the results. Electronic voting systems were first used in Hawaii during the 1998 elections. The technology involved with such systems has continued to evolve to improve the administration and security of elections. Ballots are scanned and counted through the electronic voting equipment. Since we have transitioned to elections by mail, ballots are processed and counted in the order they are received. In contrast to a polling place model, which we used in the past, where the ballots are isolated to the assigned district and precinct only. Using the voting equipment, the counted ballots then can be filtered to the selected precinct and viewed to create a hand tally of the results. Further, we're still able to track and go back to the individual source ballot and do a physical review as necessary. Your Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs amended the bill to ensure that a post-election pre-certification audit to be done of a random sample of no less than 10% of the precincts is required. For these reasons, I encourage all our members to support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Perrick.
I vote no.
So ordered. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto.
With reservations
So ordered. Proceed.
and permission to insert comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Members, we're going to move on to HB 141, HB 463, HB 1058. Next page, HB 1039, HB 981. Representative Perrick.
No, please.
So order, proceed.
My understanding is that even an electric gun or the sale of an electric gun is an arm per the Second Amendment, and this wouldn't be an infringement if the background check was curtailed to discriminate against that person.
So ordered. Representative Tarnas.
Thank you. In support.
So ordered. Proceed.
Just a brief comment. This measure specifically requires those who sell or offer to sell, distribute, or otherwise transfer electric guns or cartridges to be required to have a criminal history background check. This is for public safety and consumer protection. I urge all members to support this measure.
Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Souza.
No vote.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Matsumoto.
Reservations.
So ordered. Representative Chun.
Speaker with reservations and permission to insert comments.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Members, we're going to move on to HB 792, HB 426.
Mr. Speaker.
Representative Tarnas.
Thank you. In support.
So ordered.
May I add a few words in support? This bill will function as an exception to the federal law, Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, which was passed in 2005, which I'll refer to as PLCAA. That bill provides gun manufacturers, distributors, and gun dealers with special protections from civil liability. These protections are such that none other U.S. industry is provided. This bill will ensure that valid civil claims can be brought against the gun industry for dangerous, negligent, and unlawful actions. And so why is this important? The PLCAA, the federal law, has been interpreted by some courts to effectively bar victims and survivors of gun violence from holding firearms businesses liable for injuries caused by negligence, defective products, or unreasonably dangerous conduct that would otherwise be actionable under civil justice principles. The PLCAA denies justice to victims and survivors. The PLCAA perpetuates the flow of crime guns into communities of color. The PLCAA disincentivizes responsible business practices. Remember, this federal law, Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, provides gun manufacturers and distributors special protection from civil liability that no other U.S. industry is currently afforded. I ask members to please support this measure, as no industry should be above the law, especially not one that makes and sells lethal weapons. This bill will ensure that bad actors in the gun industry are held accountable and victims of gun violence are able to get justice through the law. I urge all members to support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Pierick?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Garcia?
Same request.
So ordered. Representative Alcos?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Souza?
No vote, thank
So
you.
ordered. Representative Chun?
With reservations.
So-
And permission to insert comments.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Lamasau?
With reservations, thank you.
So ordered. Representative Ward?
Speaker, no vote. In a brief historical note regarding what the former Speaker, the Chair of Judiciary, noted. The COVID manufacturers, Pfizer, et cetera, they are exempt from being sued, so there is an exception to what you say. Also, I think if we look at the industry called Twitter and Facebook, they also cannot be sued because there's no Act 230 which holds them accountable. So in a way, this is not unusual. It's kind of par for the course for those that feel like they're immune or they should be immune. But this is something where we just need to consider it a bit more seriously. And remember, it's the Supreme Court that's going to be the final arbiter of many of these gun issues that we are concerned with here today. Thank you.
Representative Vayu?
Reservations.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto?
No vote.
So ordered.
Permission to insert comments into the journal.
So ordered. Representative Keela?
Mr. Speaker, no vote, and may I register the comments from the representative from Waimea into the journal as if they were my own.
So ordered.
And then at the appropriate time, can we please go back to SCR 788?
All right, members, we're still on HB 426. All right. SCR. Moving back to HB 981.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to register a no vote, and may I adopt the words from the previous Speaker of Waimea into the journal as if they were my own.
So ordered. Representative Alcos?
I'm a no vote.
So ordered. Representative Lamasau?
With reservations.
So ordered. Our members, I'm going to call for a vote. Representative Morikawa? Wait, hold on, Representative Morikawa. Representative Peruso?
Mr. Speaker, before you call for a vote, I was hoping to go back to HB 1039. Is that possible at this time?
Representative
I
Peruso?
apologize.
Hold on, we'll move back to HB 1039.
Thank you so much. So I want to register a very strong no vote on this measure because if you read it closely in the middle of the bill, there's one line that codifies in law a first responder campus, which I have been pretty adamantly opposed to because my constituents tell me that they don't want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money in this fashion. So for that reason, I'm a no.
Members, no further discussion on HB 1039. We're going to call for a vote. Representative Morikawa?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measures before us, all majority members vote aye, with the exception of the following. On page 34, HB number 463, Stancom report number 785, Rep. Capella votes no. On page 36, HB number 1039, HD1, Stancom report number 787, the following vote no. Capella, Peruso. For HB number 981, HD1, Stancom report number 788, Rep. Kila, Rep. Kong vote no. On HB number 426, HD1, Stancom report number 790, the following vote no. Kila, Kong, Quinlan. Thank you.
Representative Garcia.
On the measures before us, all minority members vote aye, with the exception of the following. On page 34, SCR 781, House Bill 132, House Draft 1, Reps. Alcos, Garcia, Pirrick, and Ward vote no. On page 35, SCR 788, House Bill 981, House Draft 1, Reps. Alcos, Garcia, Pirrick, Souza, Ward vote no. On SCR 790, House Bill 426, House Draft 1, Reps. Alcos, Garcia, Matsumoto, Pirrick, Souza, and Ward vote no.
Have all votes been cast? Said House bills pass third reading. Item 8, introductions of resolutions. Mr. Clerk, are there any resolutions for action?
Mr. Speaker, there are no resolutions for action. May all others be referred to print.
So ordered. Item 9, members, are there any announcements? Representative Kilo?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Acknowledging that today is Alzheimer's Awareness Day, if members would like to join us after today's floor session in the rotunda for a special honorary certificate of Alzheimer's advocate and to hear stories from them, I welcome the body to join us at 1 o'clock or right after this.
Thank you. Representative Peruso?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to ask the body to join me in wishing the representative from Kihei a very happy birthday. So congratulations, Rep. Amato. I'm not sure how old, but we're happy to have you with us.
All right, members, with no further announcements, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.